Thanks very much, Jay. Good morning, everyone. So, as Jay said, yes, I'm going to take you through a massive amount of stuff today. So, I'll probably, if you've got questions and that, I'll take them all at the end. So if I miss things as we're going through, because I've got so much I want to take you through, I'll cover anything at the end. So don't worry if you think I'm ignoring your questions. Morning, John. Morning, David. Yeah, morning, everyone. Okay, so print on demand, something I'm very, very passionate about. And as Jay said, I really think it's a brilliant opportunity, particularly if you're interested in any form of e-commerce at all. Morning, Sandra. Morning, Hazel. Right, okay. So we're going to look at basically what we're going to cover is what is print on demand, because some of you may or may not understand it, might have some idea, nothing at all to do with printing ebooks or anything like that. So we'll explain exactly what it is. I'll take you through why Etsy is the best marketplace to sell it. What I'm going to teach you this morning, you can use to sell print on demand products on any number of marketplaces. But there's some very good reasons why you really want to start on Etsy, even if you're considering going on to another marketplace. So we'll go through that, and I'll show you exactly what you need to do to set up an Etsy shop. It's you know, because it's not just a case of producing a product and throwing it in the shop and hoping it'll sell, unfortunately. So there are certain things you need to do to really set everything up properly. David saying, can you sell music? Depends what form it's in, David. You can sell all sorts on Etsy. I do sell physical products as well as print on demand. Print on demand is something which it's just a brilliant opportunity, and I'll explain why now. I like to think of it, if you kind of imagine you had a high street shop and it was filled with stock which you didn't have to pay for. You had no rent to pay, no rates, okay, no electric, if you like, nothing at all, which is a very good point, useful point today, isn't it? But basically, because we're talking about the internet, it's on every high street in the world. But the thing with it is that there's basically no risk, and it's almost zero cost to set up. So I'll explain why. I'll show you a little bit about how it works. I'll just explain briefly the process, and then I'll go through all the advantages, and then we'll move on to exactly what it is. So basically what you do with your print on demand products, you would put them up for sale, and as you know, I'm suggesting you do that in Etsy. So your buyers would go to your Etsy shop, they'd find your product and say, oh yeah, I love that, I want to buy it, and they would pay for it. As with all these platforms, whether it's Amazon or eBay or Etsy, they pay the platform, they pay the marketplace, don't they? So that is what happens with Etsy in exactly the usual way. And this is where the first piece of magic with print on demand works, in that you will link a manufacturer. So you will choose a print on demand manufacturer and link them to your Etsy shop. So what happens when you sell something is that Etsy will inform the manufacturer what you've sold. They'll tell them who's bought it, where it's going to. So you have to do absolutely nothing. In the meantime, Etsy will pay you, usually about 24 hours later, and that goes direct into your bank account. But the thing is that you don't actually pay for the item you've sold until you've actually sold it. So when you sell it, that is when you pay it. So for instance, once you've sold something, you'll get a message from Etsy saying, congratulations, you've sold your item. You'll then get an email from the manufacturer saying, we've received your order. A second one, now this will possibly ask you for payment, or in some cases, when you're starting out, you'll probably want to pay for your items until you're confident that it works, which it does. Okay, you may want to pay for your items individually. So the manufacturer will say, can you please pay, obviously, trade price for your item, which you can do just on their website. With myself, because obviously I can't afford to keep going on all day long and keep paying for individual items. So what you can do is you can put your account with the manufacturer in a little bit of credit, as little or as much as you want. And in the case of myself, that third email will actually say, thank you, we've taken payment from your credit for this order. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So then the second piece of magic, the manufacturer will make your item, they will pack it, and they will deliver it to the customer. So it works very much like drop shipping, without many of the disadvantages, as I'll explain in a minute, in as much as you actually never see your item. So Etsy takes the order, takes the payment, they tell the manufacturer makes it, packs it, ships it, and it goes to your customer. So it's a win-win situation. So that's a little bit how it works. Let's look at the advantages. I said there's practically zero setup costs. In theory, you can do it entirely free of charge, print on demand. It's not something I'd recommend. There are a couple of programs which I recommend just for doing the design of your items and for actually producing artwork in order to sell them. So they cost about, there's two programs I recommend. One's about £10 to £12 a month. The other one's a very, very similar amount. So to have an Etsy shop, this is one of the reasons why Etsy is such a good place to start, but by no means the most important, is that it's absolutely free to set up a shop on Etsy. As I've already said, you don't buy any stock until it's sold. So, you know, if it was a physical product, you imagine you would have to go out and buy products. So you would be spending out money, you would be having to store them, etc., etc. There's none of that because you produce your item, you put it up for sale, but you don't actually pay for it until it's sold. So there's no stock to buy, no website because you're using Etsy. Okay, there's no payment processing because they will take all the fees for you and pass it on, and there's no traffic driving. You still, yeah, there are fees, Pauline. Yeah, I'll come on to those in a bit. Obviously, there are fees. It's not entirely free, but it's completely free to open a shop, and I'll explain all the costs as we go through. It's by far probably one of the most competitive of all the marketplaces, to be quite honest. So basically, as I said, your items are drop shipped, and one of the things here is that unlike traditional drop shipping, where most, let's face it, most items are sourced in China, aren't they, on Alibaba, and you have a couple of problems really. One is quality. So unless you actually buy the item and look at it, quality can be very variable. But obviously you've got the shipping time from China, items frequently going missing, taking forever to arrive, tracking numbers that don't actually really exist with some manufacturers. And in addition now, you know, a lot of these manufacturers are selling the items direct themselves. So you can also, what happens is that you will pick a print-on-demand manufacturer in your own country. So we're in the UK. So we would pick a manufacturer, ideally in the UK. If you're in the US or anywhere else, there are print-on-demand manufacturers all around the world. And some of the manufacturers actually have factories in lots of different countries. So they will ship, if you're sending internationally, they will produce the item and ship it from the factory which is nearest to the recipient, because you can ship literally all over the world. The other thing, I mean, in terms of delivery time, this is the big thing. So for instance, all the items I sold yesterday, basically what I sell in one day will practically all be shipped probably the next morning. At the moment it is that quick, but traditionally these manufacturers will quote, usually 2 days to produce and ship an item. It can be a bit longer for some products. But the other thing is that you're not competing with lots of other people. If you're buying things from AliExpress or Alibaba, then you're competing with lots of other people who are selling exactly the same product. And as I said, the manufacturers, they've got wise to a lot of this, so they're probably listing the items for sale on eBay themselves. So let me just say that these type of Chinese products can't be sold on Etsy anyway, but they tend to appear on eBay and Amazon, of course, all the time. So you're competing with other people, you're competing with the manufacturer who's probably selling it at a similar price to what you have to pay. So there's none of that. Because your products, in addition, are actually unique, you can actually increase your profit margin a bit because you're not competing with other people. If somebody wants to buy it, they've got to buy it from you because it's a unique product. So you can also have unlimited items. So there's no limit to the number of items you can put in your Etsy shop. And unlike just now where I said if you were selling physical items, you would have to buy them, and you're restricted by how much money you've got to spend buying items, haven't you, buying stock. So there's none of that because you're not actually paying for your item. And you're able to test market new lines basically at zero cost. It costs you 20 US cents to list an item for sale on Etsy, okay? The only other fees after that are when you actually sell. So your shop is free. It costs you 20 US cents to list an item. So you can actually produce lots and lots of items. So unlike where you're buying a physical product and you've kind of got to sell it, haven't you, to get your money back, with this, you haven't paid for the item. So the maximum amount of money you could lose is 20 cents. Probably at the current exchange rate, that's probably 17 or 18p. It's the way the rates are fluctuating at the moment, but it's not a lot of money. You have unique products, as I said, but also you have the ability to personalize. Now, personalization does interrupt the automation of the process a little bit, in as much as instead of it going from Etsy direct to the manufacturer, you do have to insert the name and send it to the manufacturer, okay, if it's a personalized product. So it's not something you have to do, excuse me, it's something you can do, but that personalized market, the personalization market, is absolutely massive. You can see their report linker predicts it's going to grow $11.19 billion by 2025. It's a massive market. Forbes magazine actually did a survey, and around a third of all people surveyed said that they would choose a personalized item as a gift if it was available in preference. So it gives you, the ability to reach another market. And again, it makes your product even more unique. As I said, you can link direct to Etsy. You can link to other websites. You can link to Amazon, for example. But there are reasons, as I said, to start with Etsy, and I'll talk about that as we go through. But because it's linked, in general, you have to do nothing from the time you sell it. All you've actually got to do is the final email that you will get from your manufacturer says, we've dispatched your item, here's the tracking number. So literally the only thing you have to do is just let your customer know that the item's been dispatched. The rest of the process is all automated. So very, very quickly, a little bit about myself. I know you're not particularly interested in me, but just so as you know why I'm able to talk to you about this and qualified to do so. I had an advertising and marketing background, started at the bottom, worked my way up to a very senior level, but I'd always wanted to work for myself. And so I went out on a limb and opened a shop and went on to have several high street businesses. But at one point I decided to start selling products on eBay from one of my shops, which this was in the very early days of eBay, when a lot of people were still saying, well, what is it? And people hadn't heard of it, which is seems very strange nowadays, isn't it? And I built up several successful businesses on eBay. and came away from high street retail altogether. I gave that up because I could see that online was the way to go. One day my wife said to me, well, why don't we try selling on Etsy, which I thought was a very silly idea because probably like some of you, you envisage people, you envisage elderly ladies maybe knitting tea cozies at home and woolly hats and things like that and putting them up for sale. But as is often, if not always the case, my wife was absolutely correct, and we started selling on Etsy, and we found that it was a really powerful marketplace and very different to eBay in many respects, to the extent that I've now completely given up selling on eBay and I concentrate entirely on Etsy. So I coach and run courses on Etsy businesses, in particular print on demand, which I specialize in. I'm also a business and mindset coach and mentor, and the program Jay was talking about earlier on, I actually coach a lot of his students on the training for him, okay? But the most important thing about all of this is that with the print on demand and Etsy, which I'm talking about today, I actually do that. I do that every day. That is my main business, okay? So I don't just teach people how to do it, I actually do it myself all the time. This was me at the Internet Business School, the 2022 Digital Business Bootcamp. I don't know if any of you were there. It was brilliant to actually be live on stage again, speaking alongside the likes of Simon, Stas, Paul O'Mahony, etc. So nice to be live. This, just to give you some idea, this is revenue from one of my shops. So you can see this one's taken 48,911.96. This was some time ago. This is another one. I'm not just going to show you the bigger shops. I have several Etsy shops, okay, and there are various reasons for that. You can see the revenue on this one. So this was 9 months after setup. So this one had taken £8,982.25 at this stage. That was 9 months after setup. This is another one. Now this one, this was a print on demand shop. Now this was one I set up as a bit of a challenge to prove what could be done. So this one was purely selling mugs, okay, print on demand mugs, nothing else. So in 18 weeks, I'd taken £6,398.63, 606 orders, okay. Not only that, that shop was in the top 8.5% for sales performance on Etsy within 18 weeks. You can see the conversion rate 4.1 there, which is very, very high. The average conversion rate is about 2%. But there are lots of things I do to get these high conversion rates. So I'm going to take you through, first of all, the basics of print on demand and what you need to do. And after that, I'm going to take you through a lot of the advanced techniques, what I do to get these kind of results. Pauline saying she has an Etsy store for personalized items, but not tried print on demand. I'm sure you know personalization works, Pauline, but print on demand is massive. Hopefully you'll get a lot from today. So the top selling products, so this was last year, the top selling products were t-shirts. You can see the screen, so you can see what's on there, mugs, hoodies, etc. So there's lots of different items you can sell print on demand. If you have a particular product in mind, say you wanted to sell t-shirts, that's absolutely fine. But there is one particular product that I always recommend people start with, and that's mugs. And there's some very good reasons for that. All print on, they're easy to produce, I've put, but in actual fact, they're all easy to produce. Doesn't really matter what it is, okay? They're all very, very easy to produce. But the thing with mugs is that they make great gifts, okay? They're a relatively inexpensive item, which makes people say, well, how can you make money from them? And I'll explain that shortly. But I can make as much money from selling a mug as the majority of people make from selling a t-shirt, okay? It's because there are good profit margins. But the thing is that they do sell in volume. You can sell an awful lot of mugs. I put a question there, how many mugs do you have in your home? Just a rough idea. Pop it in the chat, don't rush off and and go and count them. What's David saying? Could I have an Etsy shop to sell Scottish music by other artists? Yeah, you can have different shops. You can have different shops to sell different products. I have several different shops of different products. Mugs. So John's saying 8, David 4, Diana 12, Sandra, you're in the lead with 60. Okay, Pauline's only got 1. What? I hope you don't break it. I couldn't go without my coffee break. Andrew's got 14. Okay, so Sandra's way in the lead today. The most anyone has ever admitted to having was somebody in Germany who told me very precisely that he had 165 mugs. I think he must have had an entire double height cupboard or something. That's one for every other day of the year, isn't it, basically? John's got 12, Hazel 4, Andrew 98 if you count eBay stock. Okay, all right. Okay, so you can see that in general terms, we do have quite a lot of mugs. Oh, Pauline meant 10, that's okay. I was a bit worried about you breaking that mug, Pauline, and not being able to have a coffee. Right, okay. So as you can see, we tend to have a lot of mugs for various reasons. Just to give you some idea of the potential of mugs, if every household bought just 2 mugs a year, that would be 59 million mugs sold in the UK a year, okay? If you look at the US, 264 million mugs. It's an absolutely massive market. And so it just gives you some idea of the potential there. Alistair's coming in with 25. So you're in second place, Alistair, I think. Okay. Heinz did a survey and they said that 60% of people had an emotional attachment to their favorite mug. And I'm sure we all have a favorite mug, even if it's not like a print-on-demand product. If you go to the cupboard to grab a mug, there's probably one that you'll go for first, if it's not in the dishwasher, of course, either because you like the color, the shape, the size. But a lot of mugs, they have meaning to somebody, which is why they're their favorite mug in many respects. Some might have been given as a present, but somebody recently said, oh, you know, his favorite mug was one which said world's best granddad, because his granddaughter had given it to him. So that was his favorite mug and the one he would always use in preference. So they're often associated with a person or a place or something like that. But also people identify with the slogans and images that are on them. So as you'll see as we go through, this might be something to do with their job. You know, if it's a mug related to their work, you know, world's best doctor, for instance, that sort of thing. It might be something related to a type of pet they have, a sport they play, a hobby. All of these are things which you can use to put onto a mug, and they then become, you know, kind of personal, and people get a bit of an attachment to it. John saying it's pictures or text. You can do both. You'll see as we go through, you can put pictures on, you can put a picture of somebody on it if they provide it. You can do practically anything really in terms of text. In general, it's text, but you can do, if you like, a custom design for somebody, but very often you just need to use text. As you'll see now, I'm not going to show you actually personalized items, but I'm sure you all know how they work. So you don't need to be an artist. I literally am hopeless. You know, if I tried to dye a dog, it would probably have 3 legs and 4 eyes or something. I'm hopeless. I can't draw or paint or anything else. Okay, so you really, really don't need to be an artist at all. Just to give you some idea, this is a best-selling mug. Okay, I hesitate to call it a design. You know, people are putting longer sentences in the chat, so you can imagine how long it would take you to produce something like that. Hardly any time at all. But the fact that it's a best-selling mug on Etsy means, and has been for quite some time, means that that's literally made thousands for the person who designed it and put it up for sale. quite scary, isn't it? Literally would take you absolutely no time whatsoever. These again are all bestsellers, and again they're all just text. There's nothing else to them. You know, they're just lines. Some are sort of got some crossings out on them, that sort of thing. But literally, they're just text, aren't they? I mean, that one at the bottom, I'm sorry, did I roll my eyes out loud, sells in absolutely ludicrous numbers. Again, it's making the person who put it on literally thousands. It's really, really, it's crazy, isn't it? David's saying, do you need a unique name for each shop? Yes, you do, and the name is important, the choice of a name. So yes, you do need to do that. Text, not much design. Yeah, you can do, I mean, in my training, I teach people how to do all the illustrations, and you use stock illustrations. You don't have to draw them or design them. So you can do text, or you can do something more involved. I mean, this is another example of one which somebody's done with text. And this one, you can see Teresa saying, won't they be copied? In general, sometimes people will try and steal your ideas. In theory, you can copyright them. It's probably not really worth it at all, to be quite honest. But if you come up with a design and it becomes a bestseller, then you will always rank top on Etsy anyway, no matter whether somebody tries to do something similar. And you can see here, this is what's happened with this, but all of these were bestsellers. It's something that Katie Price's son said on a show some years ago, and it went kind of viral. And so, you know, lots of people put it onto mugs. So, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because they're all just variations of the same mug. Pop in the chat which one you like. Which one do you like? We'll have a vote on it and see which one everyone likes. Because effectively, they are the same design, aren't they? But they are different. And everyone will have a favorite. Andrew number 1, Pauline 3, Ankuri 3, Luther 3, Sandra 3, Leon 3. Nioke, is that? Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. 3. It's number 3 by a massive amount here, because it's big and easy to see. Okay, but the thing is, if you wanted to buy a mug that said, "Oh, what a day," there would be one that you particularly liked, and you would probably buy one, you know, the one that you prefer. Now, if that mug was £1 more, you would probably, this is where I was talking about something being unique, and this is a real extreme example, because these are and aren't unique, but in their own way they're different, and so you would pick the one which you prefer, and that is the one which you would buy, and probably quite happily pay £1 more for. Because if you didn't buy that one, you'd think, you know, I bought this other one, but I preferred number 3. So if something everyone is going to ask is, how do you sell it if you've never actually had it made? Okay, because I've already said you don't pay for it until you've sold it. So if we look at what we've got here, the image on the left, that is actually downloaded, that has been downloaded from the manufacturer's website. So I've done a quick design. I'm not saying it's good at all. It's something I did quickly just to demonstrate this. So I did this design, uploaded it to the manufacturer's website, and they have provided me with an image. They'll give you an image of both sides and the center view usually. So you can download those and you can use them to put in your item, you know, to show it for sale. The image on the right is just produced on a simple program I mentioned earlier on. And so you can actually create an image of somebody holding the mug. So anyone who's not been on here and goes on Etsy to look for a mug would not realize that that mug has never actually been made. They would probably think it's been made and I've paid a model to pose with it, and there it is. So you know, that is how you actually show it for sale. And there is a much more exciting way of doing this, even so, which I'm going to come on to a bit later when we get onto the advanced things. If you're thinking this is looking a bit more complicated, I'll tell you how easy this design is to do. If you break it down, what I've done is I've put a black circle on there. Okay, so I've clicked on a program and put a black circle on, dragged it to the size I want. I've clicked and put on an image which I can use, I have the right to use, and I've typed in 2 sentences and put them just in different typefaces. So that's how easy it is to produce a design, okay? So one thing I always say is prepare to sell, because 80% of your designs will not sell in big numbers, okay? Some won't sell at all. You know, I want to be perfectly honest. You know, I've done designs, I've done something, thought it's absolutely fantastic, it's really going to fly out, and nobody's bought it, not one, okay? So it happens to all of us. And then I've produced something maybe just with some words on, like the ones we looked at earlier on, and they've absolutely flown out. So it's really quite crazy. So you've got to expect that some might not sell at all, some won't sell in big numbers. A few will take off and become bestsellers, and people get obsessed with bestsellers, okay? Now it's great when you get a bestseller. I mean, you know, when I've got bestsellers, you know, I remember I had a couple last Christmas products, and it was absolutely crazy because my phone was just pinging all the time with the sales coming in from these best-selling items. But the thing about best-selling items is that you're competing in a very, very big market, okay? Now, so it has to be something which has universal appeal, and there are lots and lots of people doing that. So the area I like and I recommend and particularly specialize in is that line there. I've put some designs will sell a few. Now, earlier on, I said that, you know, people become attached to a mug for various reasons, maybe because of their job, a hobby, a sport they play, a type of pet they have, okay? If you target these niche areas, this is where you can make a lot of sales. Now, they're not going to become bestsellers because ultimately they're a niche. However, if you've got a few of these and they are selling a few a week, over the period of a year, you will sell a huge amount, okay? You really will sell an awful lot. And that just adds up to, you know, as much as any bestseller at the end of the day. But it is down to, so, I mean, the one thing I will say is it's a numbers game, because as you can see, some will and some won't sell. So it's about producing them in numbers. They don't have to take long to design, as you can see from a lot of the ones we just text on. But the way you will really make money is to target these individual niches. So for instance, you know, I had one, I've got some mugs for people who keep pigeons. There's probably nobody on here today who keeps pigeons. I could be wrong. But it's a niche. There are still a lot of people who keep pigeons, who raise pigeons, that sort of thing. And I've got a couple of mugs for that. Father's Day this year, they were selling like crazy, because somebody goes on and thinks, oh, I need a present for dad. What can I get them? What does dad do? He raises pigeons. Okay. And they search for a gift for somebody who keeps pigeons. What do they see? My products. And so they were flying out. And so you'll see that, you know, although it wasn't a Father's Day product, it will sell because it is a gift which they can give for Father's Day, as an example, and it's relative to, you know, their dad's hobby. So you can see that this is where you can really, really niche it down. So, you know, always target those sports, hobbies, jobs, things like that. And if possible, if you can make them funny, that will make them sell even better. Okay. Do I use Photoshop? Lots of questions about design tools. You can simply use Canva. For some of this, you would need Canva Pro, okay, for various reasons. You can't do it with Canva free. That's, you know, where I mentioned a couple of programs, you will need that, okay. So this, just to give you some idea, as I said earlier on, you might say, well, how can you make a lot of money from mugs? This is a site called passiveincomecalculator.com, and anyone can go on this. You do have to pay for some of the advanced information, but you can get onto this part of it. And this is a print-on-demand income calculator. Now, it's a US site, so obviously it's priced in dollars. So On a mug, I will make, converted into dollars, $6.62 profit on a mug, okay, after I've taken out the cost. So that is, if I sell just 10 mugs a day, you can see that's $66.20, 23,832 a year. That's just selling 10 mugs a day, okay? Just to give you some idea of the potential, passive income calculator, again, the blue band there you can see is your 10 mugs a day. If you look at the figure below that, if you get that up to 30 mugs a day, you would make 71,496. Remember, this isn't the sale price, this is the profit I make on each mug, okay? Johnson can't see the URL. It's passiveincomecalculator.com, John. It's that simple. Okay, so what else can you sell? Well, there's a huge number of things, okay? So, you know, we've already mentioned t-shirts, we've already mentioned tote bags, but there's a huge range of things you can do. You can see all of these on here. Phone cases, a lot of you may have bought a phone case and not even realized it was a print-on-demand product. Aprons sell well at Christmas, bizarrely, because men buy them for their wives as Christmas presents. I wouldn't dare buy my wife an apron for Christmas, but there we are. If people want to buy them, I'm absolutely happy with that. Baby grows, onesies, if anyone's in the UK, you know, I became a granddad a little while ago, so I made a personalized baby grow for my new granddaughter. So you can just see all the different sort of products that you want, that you can produce, and there are many, many more. I mean, there was somebody I was looking at recently, and they're getting sort of from Italy somewhere, they're sourcing, I think they're cotton scarves, and they're printing designs on them and selling them as altar cloths for witches, and selling masses of them. So you can think outside the box, but, you know, start somewhere simple. That's why I really, you know, recommend mugs, or if you want to do t-shirts, something like that. But you can do a whole range of products. Andrew saying, do I recommend selling in the UK or US? Everywhere, Andrew, absolutely everywhere. Doesn't matter where you are. I'm not sure if you're UK or US yourself. One of the beauties of print on demand is that when you link your manufacturer, they will put the shipping costs, it will all go directly into your listing, okay? So you don't even need to manually put the shipping costs in, but they will quote the shipping costs to everywhere in the world. And I sell, you're in the UK, okay? So they will ship all over the world, and you may think there's a massive market in the US, and there is, it is huge, okay? But I ship to the US every single week, constantly, probably every day I ship to the US thinking about it. I've got a product that I've just relisted, and I did it last year for Thanksgiving, and it sold in crazy numbers going to the US. And for Thanksgiving, you know, it also went to lots of, you know, American expats all around the world. But I ship all the time. I mean, I'll ship. This week I've shipped to, let me think, South Africa. That's not a very common one, I will say. Finland, Norway, Germany, France, obviously the US, Canada, Australia, I send to a lot. So you can see it literally goes all around the world. John saying breakables reduce profit. Not a problem with print on demand, John. If you sell a mug, okay, and your manufacturer ships it, so whatever you sell, I very rarely get breakages, but they do happen. Let's be quite honest. Occasionally you'll get things getting lost. The manufacturer is responsible. They have shipped it. They are responsible for it getting there and getting there safely. So on the odd occasion when something goes missing or is broken, I simply tell the manufacturer, and they send a replacement at their own cost. It's literally that simple. I'm going to carry on a bit. There's huge numbers of questions coming in, so I'm going to carry on a bit. Anything now that you're putting in, and if I don't answer it, just ask me again at the end, okay? I'll stay on and as long as you want and answer any questions at the end, but we'll just get through a bit more of this. So why Etsy? it's the third largest online marketplace in the UK, as you can see, fourth largest in the US. But last year there were just under 90 million active buyers. Okay, 90 million. This gives you some idea of how huge Etsy is now. And the thing there is active. So that's people who bought at least one item. Okay, and the majority of people, they will buy more than one. You kind of get hooked on Etsy, and people will follow different shops, different sellers, things like that. But it can be a bit addictive. And so that, but at least 90 million people bought at least one item, but there's only 5 million sellers. Okay, there's massive potential. Fourth largest e-commerce company in the world. So, you know, there's massive potential with Etsy. It has the second most unique visitors of any online marketplace in the UK. Okay, you can see there, Amazon number 1, Etsy is number 2, the second largest number of unique visitors, ahead of even eBay, which, you know, may surprise you. 66% of sales are on the app. It's the 10th most downloaded shopping app in the UK. So, you know, again, the app is very, very important. You can make a huge amount of money. I'm not saying you're going to make the amount of money that this person makes, but this one particular seller, and it's not me, unfortunately. Okay, this particular seller, the top performing seller in the UK, has made 806,444 sales. I checked that earlier this week. Okay, average is 170 sales per day. You can imagine how much money they're making. But 50% of Etsy sellers make a living solely from selling on Etsy. Okay, so again, looking at Etsy, just a bit more before we move on. Etsy's grown incredibly. Okay, so you can see there that from 2019 to 2020, they grew by 107%. So from 4.94 billion in sales to 10.97 billion. Obviously, we were in lockdown there, but it's continued massively. It's just continued to keep growing at a huge rate. What lockdown did is kind of leapfrogged a few years by making people go online and buy online, because we had to, didn't we? Let's be quite honest. And even I bought things online that I probably wouldn't have done pre-COVID. But now that I've bought them, I'll quite happily continue to buy them online and not go to a physical shop. So just to put this into perspective, Etsy grew by 107%. During the same period, eBay grew by 16.9%, 16.9. Just shows you the vast growth that they're going through. In terms of where the buyers are, okay, the US is by far the biggest market. And as I said just now, you will sell to the US if you're in the UK all the time. Okay, so there's over 54 million buyers in the US, 27 million in the UK. The next biggest marketplaces are Canada and Australia. After that, it's France, Italy, Germany, etc. But you can set it up so that the descriptions, the titles, etc., will all be auto-translated. So if somebody logs on to Etsy in France, they would see your description in French. Obviously, your product, unless you start producing products in French, your product's going to be in English. But I send products to France. I send a lot to Germany. They're in English. They're not in German. Okay. Excuse me. So if we compare the different marketplaces, I consider that eBay, having many years experience of selling on there, a lot of people will buy on price. The biggest category is sort of tech products, so you can easily compare like for like and buy the one that's cheapest. I don't blame them, I'd do the same, but that is a lot of the people who go on to eBay. With Amazon, you expect next day delivery, don't you? If I go on Amazon, the first thing I look for is it Amazon Prime? Am I going to get it tomorrow? If not, I'll look at another product. Quite often the way we've kind of become to expect next day delivery on Amazon. If you want to do that, you've got a couple of options with Amazon. One is Amazon FBA, which some of you may be familiar with, fulfilled by Amazon. But that takes away one of the big benefits of print on demand, because in order to do FBA, you've got to ship the product to Amazon. So you've got to start buying stock, okay? You've got to pay to have it shipped to Amazon, etc., etc. Then if it doesn't sell, you'll get charged for storage to have it sent back, etc., etc. But having said that, if you wanted to do that, if you go on to Etsy, put an item on Etsy and it sells, then you know it's not going to be a problem, and that is when you may want to then put it onto Amazon. The other option is Amazon Marketplace, which is much more similar to Etsy. However, with that, basically you upload your design to Amazon, they actually produce the product, and basically what you get is a royalty. So, you know, you're not going to make the same sort of product that you will, same sort of profit rather, that you will on Etsy. With Etsy, people are looking for unique products. You can see there the top 2 search terms on Etsy last month. Number 1 was personalized gift. Number 2 was gift. If we look at, I've actually made a note here, I checked. So the top search terms on eBay by comparison last month were PS5, iPhone, monitor, RTX 3080, which I had to actually look up, which is a graphics card, and Nintendo Switch. Amazon, the top search was Lego, believe it or not, PS5, power bank, monitor, Nintendo Switch. So you can see the marketplaces are very, very different. People are looking for gifts. They're looking for personalized products on Etsy. They're the top search terms, and they really, really sell. I can tell you that print on demand will work on Amazon. It's not, eBay is not a good marketplace for print on demand at all. Okay. So that's just a little bit of comparison. Fees were mentioned earlier on. So I said it's 20 cents to list an item, okay? And that lasts for 4 months. So if your item doesn't sell, it will be for sale for 4 months. All it's cost you is 20 cents, okay? A standard shop is completely free. If you compare that with an eBay shop, a basic shop would be about £25 a month, something like that, if you're a professional seller. And standard Etsy shop is absolutely free. As you know, I've got several different shops. They're all standard shops, okay? You can have a plus shop, which costs about $10 a month, and you get $8 back basically in credits for free listing insertions, for advertising on Etsy, etc. But you don't get an awful lot for it. You can put some bigger pictures and things like that. Personally, I prefer the layout of a standard shop, and I can't see any benefit personally in paying for a plus shop when you can have a free shop, which works perfectly well. So the insertion fee is 20 cents. It will cost you in total, as you can see there, 10.5% goes to Etsy when you sell something, okay? So your only upfront fee is the 20 cents, and then you'll pay 10.5% when you sell something. Okay, so the fees comparatively compared with the likes of Amazon and eBay, Etsy did put them up this year, which upset a few sellers. They're still way, way cheaper than Amazon or eBay in terms of the selling costs. Sounds easy, but you need to set up everything properly on Etsy, okay? You can open an eBay shop and throw lots of different things into it. You can't do that on Etsy. You could. It wouldn't really work. You need to treat it much more professionally. You need to treat it as a proper business, really. And one of the most important things is branding. I drive my students crazy with this because I feel it is so important. If you're going down the high street, you look for the shops which are clean and tidy, you know, a fresh, you know, maybe freshly painted front. They don't paint many shop fronts, do they now? But you know what I mean, a clean, nice looking shop front, a nice looking, well-fitted shop, friendly staff, etc. You would go to that shop rather than one maybe, you know, next door, which is a bit dirty and grubby looking. They haven't had their windows cleaned, you know, there's cobwebs and dust in the window. Talking extreme examples here, but you are drawn to that nice, clean, inviting shop, aren't you? And it's exactly the same on Etsy. So you need to produce a professional looking banner, which is very, very easy to do. You don't need to pay anyone on Fiverr whatsoever, because using the program I mentioned, you can produce that. I show people how to do all of that. And one of the advantages of that is you can change your banner from time to time. So for instance, as we get a bit nearer to Christmas, I'll put a nice snowy scene banner across the top of my shops, you know, something seasonal. And it just encourages people a little bit. But the whole thing is about making the whole shop look professional and inviting. I always advise people to put a photo of themselves on there. If you're really, really shy, then be naughty and put a picture of somebody else, as long as it's copyright free. But, you know, people like to see who they're dealing with. Okay, so put a picture of yourself on there, build a logo, get yourself a logo which you can use on everything. Again, you don't need to pay anyone on Fiverr or anything to do this. In my training, I show you there's a couple of different methods to make logos, but in the advanced training, using the same program again, you can just put in like your chosen shop name, etc., and a theme, and it will auto generate hundreds of logos for you. They're not exactly what you want. You can change the picture, change them around a bit, change the colors, but you can almost auto generate a logo really, really quickly and easily. Okay. And again, it just makes it all look professional. So very, very important, the branding. SEO, absolutely critical. Okay, this is where a lot of people go wrong. I have a service I offer, which I charge £297 plus VAT for, where I will go in and analyze somebody's shop and look at what is right and what is wrong. So 9 times out of 10, the biggest problem is SEO. I've had lots of people lately. I had somebody who's been selling online for years and years and years recently contact me and want me to do, you know, a look at his shop, which I did. And, you know, it is clearly, you could see immediately exactly what was wrong. I had somebody a few months ago from Mexico who'd been on there for 2 years and sold 7 items. Okay. It was all the SEO was completely wrong. So unless you're SEO, and it's no HTML, it's really, really easy, search engine optimization, but you need to optimize your shop so that it will work for Etsy and for Google as well, okay? Because your shop and your listings will appear in Google if you get your SEO correct. So that's very, very important. What else? We've already said 66% of all sales are on the app, okay? But so many people don't optimize their listings for mobile phone, which is crazy. Again, it's just a case of the way you set your listings up, and when you create a new listing, you can cut and paste and just alter, you know, for your different listing. But so many people don't do it. They really, really don't do it, and it's crazy. Because if somebody goes on and looks at your listing and they can't see the information they want immediately, they'll probably go and look at another one. So it's very, very important. Hundreds of questions come in, and I will try and get onto them at some point. Okay, I'm not ignoring them all. Okay, so mobile phones, very, very important. You can also do coupons. You can do little promotions with coupons and offers. So for instance, if somebody leaves something in their basket, you could send them a message saying, oh, see, you've left this in your basket. Would you like, for example, 10% off, or would you like free shipping? If somebody favorites something, those of you who are familiar with Etsy will know that people will favorite items, which I tend to think of as like almost like Pinterest for Etsy, if you like. Okay. So they favorite something, which means they can go back to it and look at it again. Now, there may be a reason for that. It might be because they want to buy it in the future. It might be that they just want it for reference. You don't really know. But again, if somebody favorites something, you can send them a little offer. I used to get really annoyed when I very, very first started selling on Etsy, thinking, why are people favoriting things and not buying them? In reality, I'm now very happy when somebody favorites something, because ultimately it means that it will help your listing rank more highly, because people are interested in it. The algorithm will pick up people are favoriting it, so people must be going to buy it. But again, if somebody buys something, you can send them a little voucher saying, oh, thanks very much, here's 10% off your next purchase. But the beauty of this is that you don't need to do this manually. You don't need to do it every time. You can set all of this up and automatically, so that it all works automatically. So when you set your shop up, you can set all of this up, and from then on it is all automated from there on. Okay. I do cover SEO in all my training, Yoki. Can I add print on demand items to my current shop? Yeah, absolutely, no reason why not. Masses and masses of questions there. I'll try and catch up a bit later as we go on. Advertising, I recommend when you start out, when you've got a certain number of items in your shop, that you do a little bit of advertising. And the reason for that is that when you start out, you're not going to rank organically particularly well. Etsy will give you a little bit of a boost because you're new. However, you've not had any sales, you've not had any feedback, etc. So you can advertise on Etsy very, very cheaply. You can advertise from $1 a day. You have complete control over it. So literally you tick the items you want to advertise, and Etsy will do it all for you. You haven't got to design adverts or do anything. So the way it works, so if let's say I wanted, let's say you do a search on Etsy for a product, a mug for a skier as an example. The first row of results which would come up, which will look identical to all the organic results, will actually be adverts. The only difference is that in the bottom left corner, it will say ad by Etsy seller, and it's in tiny print. Most people don't even notice it, okay? So that the very first row that comes up in your search results will be adverts. The next two will be organic results. The fourth row, again, will be ads, and so on. So it carries on. So by advertising, you can get your product onto the first page and start to get some sales. Once you've done that, then obviously you will start to rank organically. So lots of reasons for that. Now I've put there, you can see that correct SEO is essential. The way that it works is the algorithm will detect who you are targeting, and that is who they will show your adverts to. So if your SEO is wrong, your adverts won't work, okay? So again, the SEO is absolutely critical here. So you absolutely must get that right. The only thing is that with the advertising on Etsy, you only pay when somebody clicks on it anyway. So it may be that your ad is being shown and nobody's clicking on it. So you wouldn't be charged anyway, but you want to show your ad to people who are going to click on it and are going to buy it. So the SEO is vital there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to all the more exciting stuff, okay, the advanced stuff, because we've covered a lot, but I'm going to whisk you through some of the really advanced techniques that, as you saw, that shop, the one I did as a bit of a challenge, we got it in the top 8% of performing shops in 18 weeks. So I've got two courses which I run. They're recorded courses in video format, which you can go on to and go through whenever you want, wherever you are in the world. But the second course is an advanced course, and that takes you through all the techniques I used to do to get, really get my shops ranked. You can see there, I did a screenshot the other day. In actual fact, that is the shop that I was talking about, that one's now in the top 6.5% of shops on Etsy, okay, just by using the techniques I'm going to take you through. So in the advanced course, we cover things like this. Earlier on, I showed you how you actually, that you can show an image of somebody holding a mug. You can actually show an image of somebody wearing your t-shirt, an apron, holding a phone case with your design on, but you can do the same with a video, okay? Now, it costs nothing extra to put a video on your listing. We're talking a 10 to 15 second video with no sound. It's very, very easy to produce. So the artwork which you generate, which you then you would then put into a program, same program again, you haven't got to buy any more programs, and that will generate these type of videos, okay? So you can see, it's very, very powerful. The industry figures suggest people are 64% more likely to buy after viewing a video. The one there on the right, you can see, that's one of mine. That's a color changing mug of the Northern Lights. But you can see that will be quite difficult to demonstrate in just photos. But by showing somebody a video, it's very, very powerful. That kind of design where it wraps all the way around would work very well with this one, the Mentally in Paris mug. But this is a different program, and I teach people in my training exactly how to do this. Very, very simple, and you can do this completely free of charge online. Again, it's just showing people all the way around the mug. So it's very, very useful tool. So video is very, very powerful, and these are very simple to do. Also in the advanced training, and you really don't need to do this, you would have to pay a little bit more to use this, but you don't need to buy an ongoing subscription. You just pay for either a period of time or a number of downloads. It's not very expensive. I show people how to get maximum results for money. So, excuse me. What this is what we call word art. So basically, you can put lots and lots of words into a shape. So there are shapes on the program. So you can see there, the one on the right, a hockey player. We've got the little girl with a unicorn, a heart in the picture on there. So all of these, that's a personalized image. But what you can do with this is that you can, basically you put in all of your words, you choose which color you want, which font you want, and all you do then is you put it into the shape, and it's all done automatically for you. And it generates however you want them. So most of these are horizontal or vertical. A couple of them, the heart one, have got a few horizontal and vertical. The mug, which is one of mine, a good seller as well. But you can also have these going in random directions, the words. You can have them all going diagonal, all going horizontal, all sorts of different sort of combinations. So, it's just something else which you can do. You haven't got to do this. I don't necessarily recommend you start out doing this, but it's just something else which gets you kind of ahead of the competitors, if you like. There's also in the advanced training how you can basically take a logo design program, again the same one, and almost produce an instant image. So that one there, you can see that basically was a logo for a pizzeria, and I've overlaid a red rectangle and made it into a personalized mug design. Took moments, and I've sold that for dads, for granddads, etc., etc. So you'll learn how you can do that to actually very quickly produce designs. Also shows you how to research and find all the funny sayings, the text, etc., because that's not as easy as you think. It shows you how to easily do that using things online, how to find bestsellers, which is very important. Obviously you want to find a bestseller to see what is selling, because then you can sell something similar yourself. I never advocate copying, but you can sell something similar if you like. but there is another very, very important for finding bestsellers, which I'll come on to shortly. Very, very, very useful. But you can find bestsellers, you can find items which are popular now, etc. Okay. Also shows you how to find and target the niches. So again, like we said, let's say you want to target a profession, a job. So let's say you wanted to target engineers. I know someone who's got a shop for engineers. If you have a shop, you can have a shop which sells to lots of different niches, or you can have a shop which is specific to a niche. So I know someone who's got a shop for engineers, someone who's got one for Irish Gaelic sports, somebody who does one for air crew, air hostesses, pilots, etc., etc. In those instances, if it's very specific to a niche, the shop just sells to that niche, then probably what you would want to do is you would want to sell mugs, t-shirts, phone cases, a whole range of products. Whereas you could have a shop which just sold, for instance, mugs, and you have lots of different niches within it. So it's actually, if I said to you, right, think of in the next couple of minutes, come up with 10 job titles for engineers, it'd actually be quite difficult, wouldn't it? So it shows you how to kind of find all of those sorts of niches, because the better you can niche it down, the more exclusive that market, the more you can reach them, the easier it is to do the SEO. There's advanced SEO techniques in there, more training on how to get it done. Pauline's a flight attendant would be a, yeah, absolutely, yeah, definitely a niche idea. The other thing as well is, if you're in a profession, you will know the sort of slang terms and things like that that people use, which maybe a member of the general public wouldn't. So you can put things like that on products, and that again makes it much more suitable for your niche. There's also, it takes you through a lot of the advanced design techniques, how to do the personalization, the color changing mugs, how to take a background and make it into a mug design. But also it gives you things like how to speed things up, how to do your designing quicker, okay, because that's very, very important. Because in terms of time, I've said it's a numbers game, so obviously you want to get, the more items you get on, the more you will sell. But what I'll do is I have, and I'll show you here, my funny little book with a dinosaur on the front, and this is just packed full of ideas that I've written down, because if I go out and I go to a card shop, I might see a funny saying on a card, I might see something in a garden center, on a sign or something like that. Or when I'm searching online, I see all sorts of things. So I come back with lots of photos on my phone, and I just scribble everything down and put it in that book. And then, whenever I got a bit of spare time, I'll grab the laptop, sit down, flick through, find one of the ideas I've written down and produce a design. And it's a great way to do it, instead of watching the news, which is probably depressing most of the time, sit down and design a couple of products. Also in the advanced training is there's advanced training on advertising, and this is how to get the best ROAS. So ROAS is return on ad spend, okay? This is basically, if you're spending money on advertising, you don't want to be spending more than you're making. That's logical, isn't it? So there are some figures. Basically, it will give you figures so that you can scroll through your ads and say, well, this one's working, this one's not. In which case, you would either switch it off, or you would look at your SEO on that product and change it. Okay. That's a bit more about your advertising. There's a whole section on what I call the boring stuff, how to do all your different shop settings, how to rearrange the items in your shops, because you want your best-selling items at the top, don't you? How to do featured items, how to do custom orders. You can, this is different to personalization, you can allow people to request a custom order, which is something unique. You haven't got to do it, and even if they request it, you haven't got to do it, but it shows you how to allow that if you want to. Gift messages are a rather nice thing. You can't You obviously can't do gift wrapping or anything like that because you never see your product. So, but you can allow gift messages. So I will, if somebody wants to send a gift message with something, I will just forward that message to the manufacturer, and they'll put a nice little, usually a handwritten little message in, which is rather a nice touch. Okay. Also in this, the translation settings, how to do all the, look at all the data, the finances. I'm going to rush through because I don't want to keep you too long. Okay. Copyright. Some people worry about copyright. I'm sure we all know that we can't put Nike on the front of a t-shirt and sell it. But there are one or two little things you need to be aware of. It's very, very easy when you know how. So there's some training in the course on that. Also, there's some links where you can check if a word is trademarked or a phrase or even an image. Okay. So analytics, it takes you into how to use Etsy Analytics, which comes with your shop. Obviously, it's useful to know, which keywords is bringing people into your shop, where they're coming from, etc., etc. Google Analytics is a free program which you can link to your shop. So it shows you exactly how to do that. Again, that's quite useful for keyword research and the likes. But you can also do silly things like look and see who is in the shop in real time, what listings they viewed, how long they're there. That's more of a fun thing than practical, but there is lots of useful stuff in Google Analytics. But I also take you through using a program which will cost you about, I think it's about $5.99 a month. Okay. And this is absolute dynamite, this program. So it will show you, once you've got your shop up and running, it will allow you to analyze all your listings. So it will pick up every single spelling mistake, for instance. It will tell you if you haven't got the right number of photos. It'll tell you if your keywords are wrong. You can use the program to find new keywords. It will generate keywords for you. Okay. There's things in there as well. You can click on it and look at all the current trends. There's a profit calculator. There's a sales map. You can see every country where you've sold something. But even in the US, you can break it down by different states. But the really, really brilliant thing about this is the fourth one down, spy on your competitors. So let's say you produce a mug for a skier. I mentioned skiing just now. So what you would do is you would search on Etsy for mug for skier and find the top organic result, the one which is ranking organically. You would input their shop into this program and then find the relevant listing for a skier. You can then go into the back of their shop all legitimately, and you can see everything, how it is all set up, all the attributes that they've used, the tags. You can find all the keywords they've used to get their product ranked, and you can use them as well. And that is a best-selling product. So you can basically take all their SEO and use it where relevant in your own listing to help it rank. Okay, so it's absolute dynamite. Really is absolute dynamite. Okay, there's lots of questions. I'll come on to them all afterwards. Okay, we need to move on now because I don't want to hold people up too long. So course number 1, as I said, it's all in video format. You get your own unique login. You can go and do it whenever you want, but it shows you the exact process to build your shop, everything you need to do from the start. Okay. Course number 2 teaches you all the previously secret techniques. I genuinely never used to teach people about all of this, but I've got no reason to hold back because the potential out there for print on demand is absolutely massive. It's going to continue to grow for years and years and years. Okay, so absolutely no reason why not. Everything which I use to get my shop in actual fact in the top 8% within 18 weeks. Just something, what do people say about the training? Georgina said, I would recommend Nigel's course to everyone. Nigel has helped me set up a very professional looking shop, but not only that, it has all the SEO in place to attract buyers, even before starting any advertising. And within a few days of opening my Etsy shop, I made my first sale. Tanya said, Nigel is a great teacher. He's taught me so much. I hope to learn more from him in the future. Kay, who's very difficult to please, very fussy. She said she highly recommended 5 out of 5. I said 10 out of 10 would have sounded better, but of course it's exactly the same. So what do they include? I'm going to run through this quickly. Okay, so course number 1 includes setting up your professional looking shop, how to do your artwork, how to do your logos, how to find a shop name that sells. Your shop name is very important. You don't want one which will limit you on what you can sell. It needs to be a professional sounding shop name. How to find a supplier. So a lot in the first course will cover selling physical products on Etsy, so it's not all print on demand, but it shows you how to find suppliers, how to set up a print on demand business. It gives you a list of print on demand companies, everything you need to do, how to work out profit margins, how to optimize your shop for mobiles, how to identify your ideal customer. Basically, you don't need to do this, but we all talk to people differently based on how we perceive them, how they look, how they talk, how they dress. And if you can identify exactly who your ideal customer is, you can target your description to them. And that can help with your sales. So that's just another little, that's my marketing background coming out. But always remember that what you're selling your customer is not the item, you're selling them the benefit of buying your item. So for instance, if it's a personalized item, the benefit to that person is that they are showing the person they're giving that gift to that they've taken a bit more trouble to make it a personalized item. So that's the benefit to them. It shows you how to make videos and photos. This is for physical products, but obviously it's covered how to do all those image on print on demand. The print on demand videos are in the advanced course. Shows you how to do the advertising campaigns, the promotions, the coupons, how to build feedback and followers. There's masses of stuff in here, okay? How to become a star seller, which is something Etsy introduced this year. Takes about 3 months, but it tells you what's necessary, enables you to put a badge on your shop saying that you offer exceptional service. So there's 18 videos in the first course, 10 PDFs with everything from lists of suppliers to dimensions of artwork that you need, etc., etc. So you get ongoing access whenever you want and your own unique login. So this course I sell for 497. I don't do any of this nonsense where I'm going to tell you it's worth 10,000, but today I'm selling it for 497. That's what I sell it for, okay? That's the price I sell it for. And I don't discount that. However, I'm going to do something very special today, as I promised Simon I would. The advanced course, let's look at what's included in that. So how to find those funny sayings, the text, the phrases, etc. How to identify, research and target niches, the trends, okay? I had a mug out for Partygate almost instantly. You can jump on these things. The automated logo process, how to use that to do logos and to do the ready-made designs. How to do those videos that we showed for, which you can produce for not just mugs, but t-shirts, phone cases. The advanced SEO techniques, the word art design, the advanced design techniques. We've covered a lot of this, but this is all included in it. The advanced shop management. There's a video which people are loving, which shows you me creating a mug from start to finish, okay? Now that basically takes you from me coming up with an idea all the way through. So coming up with an idea, working out the SEO, designing the product, putting it on the manufacturer's website, everything to actually getting the product up for sale, the photos, the videos, everything. It literally covers everything from idea to finished product up for sale. The bit about copyright, how to avoid that. It's really nothing to worry about if you know the rules, and how to use analytics, spy on your competitors. Okay, what I told you about where you can actually go in and pinch all the SEO and keywords from a best-selling item, which is aimed at the same market as your own. It's absolute dynamite. So how much is the advanced course? Okay, so first course is 497. The advanced course is also 497 plus VAT. I put here, I'm going to make you a crazy offer in a minute. Okay, so, but that's what that sells for separately. If you go on the website, that is what you would pay for each course. I put there, it's worth its weight in gold. One of my students said that the first course was absolutely brilliant, and then when they did the second course, they said it was absolutely worth its weight in gold. I put that in there. I rather like that. So I'm going to make you a crazy offer. Okay, I'm not going to say it's worth 20,000 now and it's 497. Okay, so what I'm going to do, if you buy the first course, okay, which I never discount, I will give you the second price included free of charge. Okay, so you will get both courses for the price of one. It's a pretty crazy offer. I'll pop the link in there. That will show you everything that is included. And everything we've talked about today and more, that's all included in there. In addition, because I really want you to succeed, okay, as I said, I do this, but I want other people to succeed at doing this. And so you'll get 90 days unlimited email support, okay, another 197 plus VAT's worth. So whenever you want it, whether it's once a day or 3 times a day, or once a month, okay, there's email support there. You'll also get a live one-to-one over Zoom with me, which is brilliant because we can go on and share screens, just the two of us, okay? And, you know, whenever you want it, you can have that session, and we can run through and sort out exactly what will help you, what you'll get you going, whatever you need help with, in addition to the email support. Included, I'm going to include this today, but this won't be there. This is not an ongoing offer. I'm having a new website built, and I will only offer this paid for separately. But today I'm including the full shop evaluation, which I charge $297 plus VAT for. So basically, I'll go in once you've got set up, look at your shop, tell you everything that's right, everything that's wrong, what you need to do to improve your shop, etc. Look at all your SEO, etc. Okay. So that is included, which is a bit crazy. So that's a rundown of everything that's included. So you get the two courses for the price of one. You get the downloadable PDFs. There's 36 videos in total. I do add extra ones from time to time. You get the 90 days unlimited email support, the 30-minute call with me over Zoom, and the full shop assessment. Total value of 1,685 in real terms, and literally you're getting it for 497 plus the VAT. That's the link there. So if you go on that, a couple of people are in already. That will show you everything that's included. I'll hop onto questions in a minute. So just to recap, the Etsy seller course, the advanced print on demand course, which includes all those things I spoke about, the email support package, the one-to-one with me, the shop evaluation, all for 497. Pretty mad. There we are. Okay. In addition, if you haven't already started setting up a shop, you can there's a link included which will allow you to set up a shop for and get your first 40 free listings insertions free. If you're setting up multiple shops, you can use that multiple times, but you would need to set up with a different email address, etc. A deal with the print-on-demand supplier I use. Nobody else gets this, but it's only a little thing, but it's bear with me a moment. It's just, yeah, it's just you'll get £5 back when you've sold your first 30 items, just little things that all help. David saying, am I offering both courses? Yeah, that is available, David. I'll give you the, bear with me a sec. Where are we? There we are. There's also a Facebook group that everyone can join, okay? So you can go in there, you can chat with other people who are already on it. There'll be some who are, you know, at a more advanced stage, some at the stage that you're at now. So it's just a nice community to get involved with. But I will help you, okay? So I don't just sell you the course and walk away. I am there. I will give you the support. If you're putting the work in, I will be there to support you, okay? I just love print on demand. It's such an amazing opportunity. For a couple of reasons, really. One, it's fun to do. I enjoy doing it, and it makes me lots of money. So why would you not love it? Just a couple more things that people have said. Vicky said, Nigel is very knowledgeable and delivers the course with enthusiasm and humour. He clearly has a lot of experience. I thoroughly enjoyed the course. His friendly, caring nature shines through in what he does. He's one of the most genuine people I've met. He really wants to see his students achieve their goals. I'm buzzing with what I've learned. That was Vicky. Pamela, Vicky's in the UK, Pamela's in the US. She said, thank you so much for creating your excellent Selling on Etsy course. I love it. I've been finding it lots of fun. You're a goldmine of help, much appreciated. Your course is worth the price many times over. Pamela bought the first course, okay? And that's the feedback on the first course. She paid 497 or equivalent in US dollars. That's just for the first course. And she's saying it's worth the price many times over. How many hours of video training? From memory, there's about 11 hours of video training in there. So obviously how quick you set this up is entirely up to you, how you go through the training, how quick it is. But once you've got it set up and you've learned the techniques, then obviously it's just a case of designing new products as you go along. I've had people, had somebody who's had their shop set up and running in a week. I had somebody working full time who did it in 10 days. I paid, so what am I saying? I had somebody crazily who did it in 24 hours. I think they sat and binge watched it and set up their shop in 24 hours. There were lots of errors and lots of problems, which I helped him sort out, but he literally absolutely just sat down and went for it. I'm not recommending that, okay? Not recommending that at all. Okay. Sandra, yeah, obviously exchange rate varies I think the dollar's quite strong at the moment, isn't it? Against the pound, of course. Yeah, at least they're taking action. That's so correct. Yeah, I mean, that is what it's all about, okay? If you take action and you do this, it works, okay? It's that is basically what, I mean, what you get from the course and what you get from me is what it's taken me years to learn, and is what you need to do to be successful doing it. It's great fun to do. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's all about taking action. If you take action, then it will work, you know. So, right, let me just go on. So just a quick recap. The two courses, the Etsy Seller course, the advanced course, 36 videos in total, plus the PDFs. You get the 90 days unlimited support. You get the 30-minute call with me. You get the full shop assessment, the link for the 40 free listings. You get the deal with my print on demand company. They're brilliant. They're a UK-based company. They respond really, really quickly if you need help, okay? And like I said, there's just massive advantages with it. Put the link in the chat. Okay, it's a few questions coming in. I'll try and get onto as many of these as possible. There's a couple of people saying, can they pay by installments? If you're interested in installments, pop something in the chat, and I'll see if I can do something. We could probably split it into a couple of payments for you. But if you're interested in that, let me know in the chat. What other questions have we got here? Let me just have a look. Okay. Right, bear with me. Right. Okay, right. If there's anyone else interested in installments, just let me know. Okay, let's have a look. Just looking at this split payment here. Where are we? Okay, Hazel, we've got a few people there. Right. Okay, there we go. Okay, right. Okay, Valerie, I just pop that in the chat there. So hopefully anyone can see. If you can't see that, just let me know. Okay, let me just have a look back at some of these other questions. There's literally hundreds, so I'm not literally going to be able to go through everything in the chat. So if there's anything new, let me know. Where are we? Right. Can you sell food or plant products? That's a bit off print on demand, Billy, but yes, you can. Not fresh, obviously. You could sell tinned food products, that sort of thing. Is possible on there. Who pays for shipping? I charge the customer shipping. I don't, as a rule, offer free shipping. As I said, the print-on-demand manufacturer, certainly the one I use, will automatically pre-fill all the shipping costs. So as soon as somebody goes to buy something and they put in the delivery address, it will tell them the shipping cost and charge them it. But it is literally at cost, and there's no charge for packaging, so it's very reasonable. And as I said, I literally ship all over the world constantly. Can you do it yourself? Theoretically, you can print them yourself, but it's not something I particularly recommend. Would cost you quite a bit for the equipment. That's, you know, do you want to do that? It's a lot more work. What else have we got here? Just trying to work my way through all of these. Okay, right. I think I've got most of these. The favorite United States manufacturer. There's quite a few in the US. A lot of people use Printify is very popular. Printful is another one in the US. They're pretty much worldwide. Key issues with SEO. Basically, people just don't do it right. There are very specific ways you need to do it to get your SEO right. Definitely niching. Okay. The mug creation is an online tool, yes, but you can't download it. There are techniques to do that. How many hours do I spend? It is very, very variable, to be quite honest. I go through periods when I don't spend a lot of time on it at all. But then obviously coming up now, Christmas is coming. And already Christmas is starting to appear in the top search terms, which is quite scary in the UK, not anywhere else in the world at the moment. So I will start to spend a lot more time on it, getting more and more designs on, because you can take as much in the 6 weeks prior to Christmas as a lot of people earn in a year. It is that crazy. Okay, Christmas is massive. So I, really, if you can get going now, it's really, an excellent time to get going. Okay, I think I've got most of these. Right. Okay. How many items do I recommend to make? The number of items you put on varies. It really depends on finding the right products, on niching it down, the amount of effort you put in. It's difficult to give an exact number of products that you would need to make a specific amount, because it depends on how well that product sells. You really want to start off and try and get 10 to 20 in initially, okay? And it doesn't take long to do them once you know how to do that. Once you're up to 100 items, then you will really start flying, okay? As long as you've got your products right, as long as you've got everything correct. But from there, it's literally, because the products will stay for sale. If they're literally not selling, then you might want to stop listing them. But it's a case of just listing more and more items, and you can literally put on as many as you want. So there's not a specific number I can say that would make you X amount. Yeah, it's possible, Craig. It's going to take you a while to get there. It's Craig saying, he's aiming for 10,000 a month. It's absolutely possible if you put in the effort. It's literally producing the products. I'll happily look at the products and give you advice, but it is absolutely, it's numbers. It's about numbers, the number of products you get up there. You can do lots of different products. It's about niching it. If necessary, putting niches into different shops. But I have a couple of shops which have got lots of niches within them, if you like. Not specific to a niche. What you might want to do is start a shop, put several niches in it. If one niche really takes off, then you might say, okay, I'm going to start a new shop for that, specifically for that niche. And then you can really target people in that niche. Yeah, it's absolutely down to the effort you put in, okay? It is just targeting niches, coming up with good product designs, and they're not difficult once you get practice. It's good fun to do. It's all about, you've just got to go for it. If you want to make a lot of money, produce lots of designs and get them up there. Each theme, yeah, when you start, if you're starting several different shops, you would have to start it with each shop would have to have a different email address, okay? You can use the link to get your 40 free listings in each new store. If it's a different email address, that's not a problem. You get the offer on, there's an offer on, so for instance, Canva Pro was mentioned earlier on. There's an offer to get a free month's trial of that. So all of these things will all come with the course anyway. eBay's got more and more competitive. You need to really have unique and different products on there. I sold on eBay for donkey's years, and now I've completely come off eBay altogether. I do still sell physical products on Etsy. A lot of that is historical because they were from when the early days, and they're successful, and so why would I stop them? But I wouldn't start selling physical products again now, because print on demand just has, it's just got so much potential. It's almost, okay, you've got to buy the course if you really want to, springboard and get going, then the course will really makes a difference. I said I've had people who've been selling on Etsy for years and they're not doing it right. So you've got to have everything right, especially that SEO. But it's basically free to set up otherwise, apart from the couple of programs you need. And you're not buying any stock, anything at all. You're not packing it, you're not shipping it. And I just get really excited about it. I just think it's an amazing opportunity. Thanks, Craig. Thank you, Hazel. Thanks very much, everyone. I think we're just about going to call it to an end. I'll just pop that in there again. Instead of Canva Pro, can you use Vista Print? Can I use just one in that why you say Canva Pro due to export as a PDF. The reason for using Canva Pro is you get access to tens of thousands of free graphics which you can use in your designs. You also need to be able to download in high quality, and you need to download with a transparent background. You can't do that with a free Canva account. If you want to use a different program and it can do all of that, then absolutely, yeah, there's no reason why not. Some people, I mean, it's mad. I had somebody a while ago who got really upset because he said he was a graphic designer, and he said that I was showing people in the course how to do what it had taken him years and years and years to learn. So he was quite upset. Okay, I'll show you how to do it very, very easily. Okay, thanks, Sandra. Thank you very much, everyone. Then I think we're just about done, so we'll call it to an end unless there's any final questions. Excellent. Thanks, Pauline. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, everyone, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing a lot of you soon. I'll drop you an email, all of those who've signed up. I'll drop you an email in the next 24 hours, and I'll tell you, because if you really want to get off to a flying start, I'll tell you which bits you need to do, because some of the first course is for physical products, so you don't necessarily need to do that. So I'll tell you what you need to do and what you do and don't. Let me just have a look. A few more things coming in. Thanks, Luther. Alistair, that if you contact support, they should be able to sort that out for you. There will be a way. Thanks, Janice. Lovely. Thank you very much, everyone. Just checking I haven't missed anything. John, talk to support and see if they'll do anything on that for you. Just contact Internet Business School support. How soon can you start to make money? Again, it's all down to how much effort you put in, Dave. You know, as soon as the more products you get up, the quicker you'll start. And seriously now, you know, if you do this now and you really take action, you will be flying by Christmas. Christmas is absolutely crazy. Your head will be spinning. If you get it right and it's set up, your head will be spinning with the orders as they come in. There's about 11 hours in total of videos on there of video training. Once you've done it, and there's some of that you can skip to begin with. Okay, so as I said, I'll send you an email with the vital parts, the things you've got to do. It's you know, in order to really get going quite quickly, because once you've learned, you know, you need to come up with your shop name, learn how to design the products, and then once you've done that, you can open your shop and you can get going. And I'm quite happy then to jump in and have a look at what you've done, tell you what you need to do, you know, what you need to improve, what you need to change. You know, just let me know in an email, and I'll jump on board and have a look, and you can start making very, very quickly. There's no maximum in the shop? No, you can put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds in if you want. I tend to, as I've said, some items will sell, some won't. So if an item doesn't sell, I will probably just, after the initial 4 months, just let it drop off and not repeat it. But of course, some items are seasonal as well. So, I mean, I've literally in the last week just started relisting all my Christmas items from last year. I've already getting people favoriting them. So, you know, there are certain events throughout the year, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Christmas, that are big sales times. And so you can do things specific for that. But you can do products for things like birthdays, for anniversary, for retirement, for people leaving work, you know, this sort of thing, changing jobs. You can do products for all of these sort of things, and they all have their own market. Okay. Does Etsy protect you? Etsy itself won't protect your designs. Technically, when you design a product, you own the copyright. But unless you copyright it yourself, there is no way of stopping the other person doing it. People generally won't copy something completely, but you will get a few people out there who will do something similar. Personally, I don't copyright any of mine. It's just really not worth it. But as I said earlier, if you do a design and it starts to sell really well, you will always rank top in Etsy anyway, because they will see that you are producing it. How do you copyright it? Just go on to .gov copyright whatever and look at the process there. Okay, I think we're about there. I'm going to go and put the kettle on. I don't know about anyone else. And the sun's shining, which is a bit of a rarity at the moment. It's not raining here. I don't know what it's doing where you are. So thanks very much, everyone. All of those who've signed up, I'll be in touch very, very soon. If you need help, with a couple of people there need help, just pop on to, just contact support at Internet Business School. Okay, thanks very much, everyone. It's been brilliant. As I say, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thanks very much. Okay, bye, everyone.